Navy SEALs who are fighting in Iraq, and they've written a book. It's a great book, by the way. It details how to take war leadership principles into the civilian world. Welcome, Leif, Babin and Jocko Willink, authors of that book that you just saw on the air right there. The title again was?
Extreme Ownership.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, first of all, Jocko, your reaction to Tony Blair, who comes out now, well, a decade after the event and says, I'm sorry, we shouldn't have done it.
I find it pretty disturbing that he's coming out and saying that now. First of all, because taking what happened 10 years ago and saying that the result that we got now directly applies, there's been millions of decisions that have been made in between the war starting and what's going on now. And I'd say right now, honestly, the problems that we're having right now are more a result of inaction rather than action. We didn't take a good stance in Syria. We haven't stepped up to the plate to fight ISIS. Of course things are going to get out of control.
I have no idea why Prime Minister Blair would say that at this point. I mean, I don't know why he felt forced into doing it like this. And I have no idea what George W. Bush's reaction is going to be. Here's his faithful ally saying, we were wrong. I mean, I don't get that. Any input?
I mean, I can appreciate what he's trying to do in taking ownership. And, of course, you know, always looking back, there's going to be some things that we could have done differently, certainly. But I cannot agree with him in any way, shape, or form. And I think we actually defeated the organization that was al-Qaeda in Iraq, which called themselves the Islamic State of Iraq and is now ISIS, in Iraq previously.
Now, you two guys together, your unit, you turned the tide at Ramadi, didn't you? I mean, you pulled them all together and got them into an attack mode, and we won. Is that correct?
Well, let's make sure we give credit where credit was due. We were a small part of a large army organization called the 11AD. We did play a role in help taking back the city, and it did. It made the Sunnis that were there turn against al-Qaeda, and that was sort of a turning point in the war.
Now, the book is about the principles you learned in Iraq and how to apply them in civilian life. So let me get right at it. Leif, how do you fire somebody? It's pretty easy to do that in the military, I guess. You just demote them on the spot. But what do you do in civilian life?
You would think so, but it's actually not. It's actually pretty difficult. You have to have a paperwork trail. You have to have counseling sessions. It's just about as difficult as as firing someone in corporate America.
So, yes, exactly. So how do you apply the lesson from Ramadi to corporate life? You're fired.
So
as Trump, how do you do it?
As a leader, what you have to do is you have to mentor, train, guide people and help them get better and give them every chance to succeed. And so if they get to a point where they can't get there, then you've done everything you can. You should actually not really feel too bad about it, and they should not be surprised in any way, shape, or form.
Taking responsibility. How do you do that?
Well,
how do you enforce that?
You know, we made mistakes. We made mistakes, and horrible things happened on the battlefield. And when they did happen, you know, I was the overall guy in charge on a lot of them, and I had to step and say, "Hey guys, this is my fault, and here's what we're going to do to make sure it doesn't happen again." And unfortunately, you know, a lot of times right now we see in our political leadership, you know, you've got Benghazi. Who's stepping up to the plate with Benghazi and saying, "Hey, I was the overall person in charge. It went wrong. This is my fault, and here's how we're going to fix it."
Well, Hillary Clinton says it's my responsibility, but that's a far cry from saying, my fault, I did it, I wouldn't do that again. Okay. Leif, Babin, Jocko, Willink, thanks very much for joining us. Good luck with that book. I'm sure it's going to be a major success.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.